Good morning once again, Facebook. It's Steve Kerr here, your life coach specialist. Powerful Monday. I'm just feeling the energy, the vibration, and I put out a video just about an hour ago, and I got some amazing response from it, and I just wanted to respond again because I just heard a cry, and I want to respond to it. There's somebody out there that needs to connect with positive vibration. There's somebody that needs some new friends to change his environment. His name is Russ Macbeth. RUSSMCBEATH. Russ Macbeth. I hear you, my brother. I hear you. And I'm inviting all my friends that are from the positive vibration. Look up that name and befriend him right now and send him some positive vibration. He needs our vibration right now. Once again, his name is Russ Macbeth. I need you to connect with him and befriend him. Russ, I want to say to you right now, if you're listening, you picked up my first video and I asked you for friendship because you're not in my friend base, but because you responded to my video, I'm asking you for friendship. Now, I just want to share this with everybody that's out there because you have to recognize and you have to know things that happen to you is a state of being. You go through situations in your life to experience, but you can never think that it is your life. Okay, I'm talking about when things happen to you negatively, because things happen to us negatively is to show us that we can overcome, so you can teach somebody else and you can show somebody else the way. Can I get somebody to say I agree with you? Or just give me an amen. Because Flo, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. I see about 7-8 people in the room right now, and Russ Macbeth needs our help. He made a statement and it says, I live with depression my whole life. Now, I don't know how old you are, Russ, but I'm here to tell you that you first have to declare that you don't want to live there anymore. Okay, it's time for an eviction notice, Russ. Very simple. It's time for an eviction notice. And it's simple. If you think about it from the concept of what I'm talking about, eviction notice, if you are renting a room and you stop pay the rent, guess what? You're going to come home one day and you're going to see a notification. What it's basically going to tell you is you need to start paying the rent again, or else if you allow it to go 2 months, 3 months, you're going to get an eviction notice. A notice that is signed by a notary. That means it becomes law. What I'm basically telling you, Russ, when I'm saying this is this. You have a choice whether to live in the state of or to do something about it. Now, I know my mind. My mind is the most powerful tool that I have. And what I'm talking about is it starts right here first. Let me give you a simple example. I can imagine right now that I'm in a room called depression. And based on all the things that I see that's going on in this room, I have a determination whether I like it or not. Now, quite simple. If I don't like what's going on in this room called depression, I can simply go to another room. Now, I want you to imagine right now, Russ, there's a door right there. You're in a room and it has one door. That door exits the room in which you're in. And all what's going on in that room, it's not allowed to enter into the other room. Now, what you have to first determine, Russ, is this. What room do you want to enter in? You got to describe the room. Okay. Happiness, joy. Okay. If you want to enter that room, describe it. Right? Feeling that comes from within. I've learned the difference between happiness and joy is happiness is something external that happens to you that causes you to be happy. Joy is an internal mechanism that is within you and it comes out of you. And so joy is a greater substance than happiness. So once you have learned to grab a hold of joy, Russ, once you have learned how to be overflowing with joy by default, darkness cannot live. It cannot live. Depression cannot live. Do you notice I say darkness cannot live? Because depression is from the realm of darkness. And I started out by saying, if you could only live in complete darkness or complete light, which one do you choose? You have to learn how to choose the elements of a light and promote that. And I'm not talking just promote it, but live in it, by walking it, by talking it. You're talking about a man that was in the room called depression. But I told myself I can't live here anymore because it wasn't benefiting me, nor was it benefiting anyone that I connected with. Matter of fact, I can spread that depression to someone else. So I wrote a book, and the book is called Who Am I? There's the cover of the book right there. And in the book, in one of the chapters, you had to take responsibility. It started out by, I remember this old song that I heard the lyrics to. It goes, it's my party and I cry if I want to, cry if I want to, cry if I want to. You would cry too if it happened to you. Now listen to that. You would cry too if it happened to you. She was at a party. Okay. This party is for her, and it's a celebration. When you hear the word party, it's supposed to be a happy moment, a joyous moment. But she was at the party crying, and her friends were coming around trying to make her feel better. And then she was saying, it's my party. So you can't, this is my party. She chose to stay in that realm. She was at a party where she's supposed to be happy and joyous, and it was her party. And she was trying to get everybody to be in that dimension of sadness and depression and so forth. And she was saying, you would cry too if it happened to you. So what I'm trying to say to you, Russ, and everybody else that's out there, it's one thing to be contacted with that, and it's another to want to promote it and stay there. Russ, I'm encouraging you today. You don't have to stay there. You don't have to live there. You can move first from the mind. And when you move from the mind, and then the environment will change because the universe will speak. I don't know if you know about Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, one of the greatest human beings that I'm fortunate to know about, to have his book and to read about his biography. He was a lawyer in South Africa. And he chose that he cannot promote or be a part of a system that oppresses a race of people. And so he became a freedom fighter. He wanted the rights to be able to vote just like anybody else. He was a black man and he wasn't allowed to vote and choose the government. And it got to the point where they arrested him because of that. The government called apartheid. And so it came to the point where they put him in front and said, look, we want to release you right now, but you have to sign this document. And on the document, basically what it was saying is, if we release you, you're not allowed to promote, to speak against apartheid government at all. Sign this right here. You know what he said? He said, I'd rather be free behind bars than to be in a cage on the street. He gave them back the paper and went back to his cell. He remained there for 27 years. And in those 27 years, he went through periods of depression, anxiety, and so forth. But then he realized that he didn't have to live there. I'm telling you, you got to read the book. You got to read the book. And he started to imagine the South Africa that he wanted to see. And to keep his sanity, he then decided to write letters. And he started to write about the South Africa that he wanted to see, Russ. And then he released the letters out there. And the letters got on the shores of Jamaica. I don't know if a lot of people know, but it was Jamaica that first moved against apartheid. And then America got a hold of it. And because America and its economic empowerment, they utilized that power to do embargoes against the South African government. And the regime crumbled. But it all began with a man in a cell for 27 years. The size of his cell when you spread, you could touch. I know this personally because I went to South Africa and I was in the cell. I stood in the cell where he was, and you put your hand and you could touch the walls. That was the size of his cell for 27 years, not to mention the hard labor that he did those years. But what I want to impress upon you, Russ, is it started right here first in his mind. He dreamed up a South Africa that he wanted to see. He began to write letters, and his letters got to the shores of other distant lands. And the regime fell. When he got out of jail and when the rights was given for democracy and to vote, did you know that the masses of South Africa declared him to be the next president? I'm talking before he even put his name in the ballot box to be president. They said no other man can bring him through this season but Nelson Mandela. Moduba. You need to pick up that book and you need to read it, my brother. It starts right here. Powerful, powerful man. Nelson Mandela, the greatest freedom fighter. Listen to these words. There's a lot of quotes that he said, but the one that really hit home to me, he said, freedom is an idea that I am willing to live for. But if needs be, freedom is an idea I am prepared to die for. That man walked that walk, and that man talked that talk. So I want to encourage you today, Russ, and everybody else that's listening to the sound of my voice right now. You don't have to live in the room called depression. You don't have to live in the place called fear and doubt. All you got to do is to set your mind on where you want to be. Imagine that up and walk into it. See it and then walk it out. Flo, I want to thank you for tuning in. Hubert Malcolm, my uncle, I want to thank you for tuning in. Vivian Harris, all the way from the States. I met him in Jamaica. Now you're living in America. I want to thank you for tuning in. This is a new dawning, guys. This is a new day. And I'm telling you right now, look at yourself and ask yourself, how much light am I putting out in the world right now? How much light am I promoting to my neighbor right now? Does your neighbor even know who you are? We've been living in an isolated box for too long. Let's get out there. Let's change the world. We have the power to change the world if we just let the world know who you are. You don't have to live there. It's time to evict that depression right now, Russ. It's time to say eviction notice right now. I'm not talking about tomorrow. You can't control tomorrow. And I'm not talking about what you've experienced before, because I can't touch that, Russ. I can only touch the now. Right now, you can make that decision right now that you're not going to live there anymore. That's all you got to do, Russ. And I'm with you right now. I'm with you. I'm praying with you right now that you get out of that room right now, Russ. I'm praying with you. You don't have to live there. There is much more for you to offer to this world, Russ. Somebody want to hear your story, but before they hear your story, Russ, you got to give them the solution. You got to find your way out. Then you can give them the story. And it becomes his story, as in his story. That's all I got for you this morning, Russ. But thank you for sharing. If you didn't share, this video wouldn't even have been made. So you inspired me to do this, Russ. I thank you for that. I thank you. I'm Steve Kerr. Remember, aim high, spread wings, and fly. Be blessed.